Hello and welcome to my review of NXT Takeover in Your House 2021. So in this review, I'll go through what happened in each match and then give my opinion and a star rating. Obviously, the star ratings that I give are subjective. You might not agree, but please let me know your thoughts on the show and each match in general in the comment section down below. So we start things off with an old school opening hype package with voiceover by today's special guest, Todd Pettingill, followed by a Doc Hendricks cameo to kick off the show. We then get someone called Naomi Fox. If you know who she is, you know more than me, who is clearly miming, but some of the crowd seem to like it. A few of them are dancing along. Very clearly miming though. And then finally, we're introduced to our host for the evening, Todd Pettingill, sporting not the best goatee, but I guess I'm not the best person to talk about facial hair. He announces that we've got the largest attendance ever in the CWC, and we're kicking things off with the six-man tag for the North American and NXT Tag Team Championships. So it's Bronson, Reed, and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. That's Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza to kick things off. In my predictions, I've got Bronson and MSK for this one. So Wes Lee and Raul Mendoza start things out with some back and forth, but neither man's able to take the advantage before Nash Carter and Joaquin Wilde are tagged in. Carter tries for a quick roll-up immediately, but only gets a one count. Wilde then takes the advantage, working the arm of Carter before connecting with an arm drag on Carter, throwing him into the corner. Wilde misses the corner move, gets a kick in the face, is rolled onto the mat, ducks another kick, and then rolls up Carter for another one count. Wilde then hits a neck breaker before being hit by a drop kick. In comes Santos. He wants Carter to stay in the ring, but Bronson is tagged in before Santos backs away and tags Mendoza back in. Mendoza hits a spin kick and a couple of clotheslines on Reed, but it's got no effect at all to Reed. He then just clotheslines Mendoza out of his boots. Mendoza hits the ropes and looks for a sunset flip on Reed, who just sits on Mendoza, but Reed didn't notice a sneaky tag from Escobar, who hits a running boot on Reed. Escobar lifts Reed up, looking for a slam, but Reed's too heavy and Escobar falls to the mat with Bronson landing on top of him. Escobar then tags Wilde in, who gets thrown into the babyface corner before MSK do some quick tags and hit some sentons for a 2 count. MSK then lift Wilde off the mat before Bronson hits a senton on Wilde for a 2 count as he waves at Santos on the apron. Bronson gets Carter on his back and rushes him into Wilde in the corner before Wes runs and jumps off Carter's back into a triple team move for another 2 count. Carter tries for a submission on Wilde, but Wilde eventually gets some separation using a neck breaker, which allows him time to tag Escobar in. Escobar knocks Carter to the floor, but he's then pulled out of the ring by Carter, who hits a moonsault on Escobar, before Wilde hits Carter with an assisted dive to the outside. It looks like everyone's going to have a go at diving at the outside as Wes hits Wilde with a dive, then Mendoza hits Wes with another dive, and it's just Bronson left in the ring now, and he hits a tope suicida onto all 5 men on the outside, and it was just mental. Everyone just diving everywhere. Back in the ring now are Carter and Escobar. Carter tags in Wes, and they seem to be looking for a double team move, but Carter is dragged out of the ring by Wilde and Mendoza before they can hit it. This distraction gives Escobar enough time to kick Wes in the face and take control of the match as Carter is thrown into the crowd, or into the crowd area. There's no actual crowd there, just over the barriers. Escobar hits a running knee on Wes in the corner. He places him on the top rope and then hits a Hurricane Rana for a 2 count. Legado del Fantasma then take advantage of fresh tags, attacking Wes Lee in their corner. Escobar hits a brainbuster on Wes before Wilde hits an assisted 450 splash on Wes for another 2 count. Wilde hits Lee off the ropes but misses with a drop kick before just managing to drag Lee away from a tag to Bronson. But Lee manages to escape and does get the hot tag to the big lad, who hits Wilde to the mat several times. Mendoza tries to stop Bronson but gets dropped too before Mendoza and Wilde are both splashed in the same corner. Bronson then gets Mendoza and Wilde on his shoulders and hits a double Samoan drop. Reed follows this up with a suplex to Wilde, then wants Escobar in the ring. It looks like Escobar's about to enter the ring, but the referee stops him because he's not the legal man. This gives Mendoza time to chop block Reed from behind and then quickly tag Escobar in so he can take advantage. Escobar hits Reed with a beautiful Michinoku driver, only for the count to be broken by Nash Carter. Wilde and Carter tag in. Carter hits a jumping knee but is then pushed off Wilde, allowing him time to tag Mendoza in. Legado del Fantasma then hit an Enziguri into a Russian leg sweep, but the count is interrupted by a dive from Wes Lee. All 4 of the tag team members of this match are now down in the ring as Escobar is kicking off on the outside. He's having a bit of a strop. He picks up the North American title and he looks like he's planning on using it, but he turns around into a bulldozer-like shoulder tackle from Bronson Reed, who sends them both through the barrier and the plexiglass. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Wes Lee throws Wild to the apron. Carter gets Wild on his shoulders outside the ring in a torture rack position before Wes hits a double stomp to Wild on the outside. Mendoza is walking the top rope back inside the ring, but he's met by a super kick from Carter as he jumps off the rope. Carter then tags in Lee. Lee goes up top and hits a top rope neck breaker onto Mendoza, who's being held up by Carter. Bronson Reed is tagged in by Lee and hits a tsunami for the win. Bronson Reed and MSK retain. What a match to start the show off. It was absolutely perfect. I don't think there was anything that went wrong. It was entertaining from start to finish, and it means that I kick off the show with a correct prediction. The only reason that this isn't getting 5 stars is because in my rating system, it's going to take something spectacular for me to award any match that star rating. So this one is getting 4.5 stars. Backstage now, and we see the arrival of Kyle O'Reilly, who's interrupted by The Way, who get into a bit of a scuffle before being interrupted by security and William Regal. And then Todd Pettingill is back to introduce the Mercedes Martinez and Xia Li match. And he's about to put a gold VHS of their match in the Mae Young Classic from 4 years ago into a very old-fashioned TV before Mackenzie Mitchell interrupts to inform him that there's such a thing as digital streaming. Todd still doesn't get it though, and he heads to the truck hoping that they'll have some RCA cables. This was it was quite funny, but a bit cheesy. So now for Mercedes Martinez against Xia Li, we start things out by grappling through the middle ropes to the outside before Xia throws Martinez back into the ring. Martinez hits Li with a backdrop before getting some shots in on Li in the corner and hitting a suplex. But Li then gets the upper hand with an octopus-like hold on the ropes before throwing Martinez into the ring post on the outside. After hitting some stomps back inside the ring, Li heads to the outside again so she can inflict some damage to Martinez's midsection against the ring post. Li gets back into the ring once more and throws Martinez into a couple of the turnbuckles before drop-kicking her out of the ring. Li misses Mercedes and kicks the ring post instead as Martinez rolls back into the ring. Martinez hits Li with a few right hands but is stopped in her tracks by a shot to the midsection. Martinez then hits her with a few more right hands, only to be kicked in the ribs and stopped again. Xia Li takes control and tries to whip Mercedes into the corner, but Mercedes reverses it and hits a royal butterfly suplex, but misses the corner splash to follow up. Xia Li then hits another suplex on Mercedes, but takes too long to capitalize because of her injured leg and gets dropped face first on the top turnbuckle. Mercedes lifts Xia Li to the middle rope and hits the cliffhanger for a 2 count. Mercedes then hits Li with a few knees and smashes her face to the mat. Looks for a kick, misses, but then hits a jumping knee, only for Boa to pull Li out of the ring. Mercedes shoves Boa out of the way outside the ring and then hits a backdrop on Li. Both competitors get back into the ring. Mercedes gets Li on her shoulders looking for an air raid crash, but Xia Li escapes, pushes Mercedes off the ropes and hits Mercedes with a kick for the win. After the match, Boa grabs a chair from under the ring as Xia Li has asked him to. He hands it to Xia. She tries to hit Mercedes Martinez with it, but she has her leg kicked away just before she can make contact. Mercedes grabs the chair herself. Boa tries to get in the ring one time, gets a chair to the shoulders for his trouble. Then Mercedes hits Xia with a couple of chair shots to the midsection and back. Boa tries to get in again, but he gets hit with a chair once more. Mercedes hits Xia Li one more time with the chair before she rolls out of the ring and the lights do something creepy. Mercedes steps out of the ring shouting to Mai Ying that she's not scared as she's been sat on the ramp the entire time in her little throne thing. And Mercedes hits Xia with the chair once again. This gets Mei Ying out of the chair. She walks down the ramp towards Mercedes, stops a little way short of Mercedes. Then Mercedes walks up to Mei Ying and has her throat grabbed immediately. Mercedes tries to fight out, but she's thrown into the barricade from the stage, and the ramp was it's an elevated ramp, so she got thrown off the elevated ramp into the barricade and is sort of like in a ditch between the ramp and the barricade. So this was another very entertaining match. I wasn't expecting Mercedes Martinez to have so much offense, but I really enjoyed it. I like how they've been harking back to the match that they had in the Mae Young Classic as well. And I look forward to seeing what Martinez can do on Raw if she is leaving NXT. I also think we could be seeing Xia in the NXT Women's Championship picture before too long. 2 correct predictions in a row. The aftermatch shenanigans persuaded me to push this up to the rating that I have done. I've given it a 4.5 star. I was only going to give it 4 stars, but intrigued me. Mei Ying getting out of a chair. It was well done, and I'm not sure if this is going to lead to. It probably is going to lead to another match between Mercedes Martinez and maybe Mei Ying. Don't know. So that might mean that Martinez isn't going to the main roster right now, but I guess we'll see. 4.5-star rating for that match. We now get a promo from Ciampa and Thatcher, who are hyping their Tornado tag match with the Grizzled Young Veterans on this Tuesday's NXT. And we find out that it is the $1 Million Championship match up next. We've, of course, got LA Knight for this one. So Ted DiBiase makes his way out to the ring with some security, carrying the $1 Million Championship in a briefcase. LA Knight is the first of the two competitors out and shows everyone that he knows just how to climb a ladder by climbing the golden $sign ladder that is at the top of the ramp. Grimes makes his way out to a big pop but doesn't climb the ladder, he just stares at it. The title in its briefcase thing, it's a clear briefcase, you can see the title, is lifted above the ring before the match gets underway. There's a very loud LA sucks chants from the crowd. Things start off with some grappling before Knight manages to knock Grimes to the ground with a shoulder block. Knight takes too long to capitalize though, and he has his leg grabbed by Grimes, who pushes Knight to the mat and shouts, "You can kiss my grits." Great stuff from Grimes there. Grimes hits Knight with some right hands and slaps before clotheslining Knight. Just as it looks like Knight's gonna take the upper hand, Grimes hits him with a standing Hurricane Rana. Knight pushes a ladder in the ring. Grimes grabs it from inside the ring and looks like he's trying to push the ladder out the other side of the ring, but instead he gets pushed out of the ring by Knight, who then picks up the ladder and throws it to the outside. Grimes runs back into the ring to avoid that flying ladder and is met by a clothesline from Knight. Grimes is once more thrown out of the ring and Knight grabs the ladder and puts it back into the ring and sets it up in the middle of the ring this time. Knight starts to climb the ladder, but Grimes meets him halfway up with a slap to knock Knight to the floor. Knight pulls Grimes off the ladder and knees him in the ribs. Knight then tries to tip the ladder on top of Grimes, but he rolls out of the ring just in time. And when Grimes rolled out, he rolled out quite close, scarily close to another ladder that was standing on the outside of the ring, and he accidentally leaned on it and tipped it, so it almost hit Vic Joseph and Beth Phoenix in the face on commentary, which they did mention. Knight now has hold of one end of the ladder inside the ring as Grimes has the other on the outside. A tug of war ensues with Grimes eventually dragged into the ring, holding onto the ladder. They both let go of the ladder and Grimes throws Knight to the outside. Both men have a ladder in the ring now and hit each other with them. Grimes drops his ladder but ducks Knight's attempt to hit him and kicks Knight back out of the ring. Grimes and Knight have another tug of war, but Grimes just pushes the ladder and Knight into the barricade this time. Grimes is on the apron and kicks Knight in the chest, and we've got an England football reference from the commentary. It was Vic Joseph that mentioned it, and then he said something about England doing really well because of Grimes kicking Knight in the chest, and then Wade Barrett was like, yeah, we did. He didn't say it's coming home, but it's coming home. Grimes pushes the second ladder into the ring, which gives Knight time to get to his feet and smash Grimes' face off the plexiglass on the barricade. Knight then pulls the ladder onto Grimes' face outside the ring and smashes Grimes' face off the plexiglass once more, then hits him off the steel steps before Grimes reverses Knight into the plexiglass this time. LA Knight pokes the eye of Grimes to get the upper hand and throws Grimes into the barricade. Knight then grabs another ladder, an extra large one this time, which he sets up outside the ring with one end resting on the ring apron and the other on the top of the barricade. Grimes is back in the ring now. Knight gets up on the apron and hits a flying shoulder block to Grimes. Knight then sets a ladder up in the corner of the ring. He's got lots of ladders set up all over the ring at this point. Knight attempts to throw Grimes into that ladder in the corner, but it's reversed and Grimes suplexes Knight off the ladder and then hits Knight in the ribs with the ladder. Grimes tries to hit Knight in the balls with the ladder, but Knight gets out of the way just in time, standing up to get out of the way. Knight pushes Grimes into the turnbuckle and then hits a cutter on Grimes. This one looked nasty. It was onto the side of the ladder. The ladder was lying on its side and it didn't look good for either man. Knight, both of them landing on their backs. Very uncomfortable. Grimes goes outside of the ring and grabs another extra large ladder and brings that one into the ring. Grimes interrupts Knight setting the ladder up in the ring but gets thrown into the ladder for his troubles. Knight then rests the ladder against the top rope in the middle of the ring and is about to take Grimes on a trip to the moon. But Grimes reverses and whips Knight face first into a ladder which he previously set up on the top turnbuckle. Grimes hits Knight with a ton of kicks to the chest before Knight pulls Grimes by the hair to the mat. Knight then gets thrown over Grimes' shoulders onto the ladder which Grimes set up on the top rope before being thrown out of the ring onto the supersized ladder he set up between the apron and barrier earlier. Grimes then shouts that he wants the gold and heads to the top of the ramp to get the gold dollar-adorned ladder. He brings it into the ring, he sets it up, and he starts climbing, but LA Knight joins him at the top of the ladder. Grimes throws Knight off, but Knight gets straight back up quickly and pushes the ladder off the ropes, knocking Grimes off. Knight then runs at Grimes, and Grimes hits a Spanish fly of sorts. I'm not really sure what it was. It sort of looked like a Spanish fly or a scoop slam. Not really sure. Both men are down now as the crowd chant, "This is awesome," which indeed it is. Grimes rolls to the outside as Knight stands a ladder up outside the ring on the ramp, then lies another one across it from the middle rope. Grimes hits Knight with a right arm and a kick to the face as both men are outside the ring. Knight then hides behind one of DiBiase's security outside the ring and surprises Grimes with a right hand. Grimes is whipped into a ladder standing on the outside, but he scales the ladder like a cat. Knight then pushes that ladder over and thinks that he's knocked Grimes off, but Grimes has jumped onto a piece of the scaffolding that's part of the set, and Knight doesn't realise until Grimes is flying at him and hits him with a crossbody. Grimes rolls back into the ring and sets up the golden ladder once again. He climbs it, but he's dragged down by Knight, who tries to powerbomb Grimes out of the ring, but it's reversed into a Hurricane Rana from Grimes, who holds on to the ropes and climbs back up the golden ladder, gets a hand on the title. He's so close, but Knight is back in the ring. He lifts the ladder from the bottom rung, flinging Grimes onto a ladder which Knight set up against the middle rope and the ladder outside the ring earlier on. And Knight is alone in the ring now as he sets the ladder up again, climbs it, and wins the $1 Million Championship. After the match, DiBiase handed the title to LA Knight, so we have a new $1 Million Champion. It is LA Knight, and this show just continues to deliver. Another great match, so much creativity with the ladders from both men, and I'm now 3-0 for predictions tonight. I expect this feud's going to continue a little while longer, but it just makes sense for the holder of this title to always be a heel. Let me know if you think differently in the comment section down below, but that's what I think, and I'm giving this one a 4.5 star rating. Todd Pettingill is back now, and he acknowledges that VHS and DVD are indeed irrelevant. He tries to shill some merch before being interrupted by Hit Row. What are they going to say? Oh no, they're just going to shill their merch as well. Then we cut to backstage where we see Pete Dunne and Karrion Kross kicking off with each other, being held back by security and shouted at by Regal once more. Next up is the NXT Women's Championship match, and I've got Raquel Gonzalez for this one. So Ember Moon starts things off hot. She gets a kick and a Hurricane Rana at the start, but she's eventually overpowered by the stronger woman of Raquel Gonzalez. Gonzalez is looking for the one-arm powerbomb, which is a bit of a theme of this match, but Ember counters with a modified head scissors, knocking Gonzalez through the middle turnbuckle to the ring post. Moon jumps to the apron, but she's momentarily distracted by Dakota Kai on the outside, giving Raquel Gonzalez enough time to move out of the way of Ember's kicks. Gonzalez then barges Moon off the apron into the barricade. Back in the ring, and Gonzalez gets a 2 count on Moon. Raquel Gonzalez looks for a slam on Ember, but Moon attempts to reverse into a pinfall, only to be grabbed by Gonzalez and thrown into the turnbuckle. Ember goes to the top rope looking for a Meteora this time, but she's caught and thrown against the turnbuckle once more before being hit with a one-armed sidewalk slam. Gonzalez goes to the middle rope and hits a twisting Vader bomb for a 2 count. Not very often that we see Raquel Gonzalez do high flying maneuvers, but this was a very nice twisting Vader bomb. Gonzalez lifts Moon onto her shoulders into a Canadian backbreaker. Moon tries to escape, but she's slammed to the mat for another 2 count. Ember tries to fight back, but she's shoved away by Gonzalez before thrust kicking Gonzalez in the face. Ember hits a step-up enziguri, a clothesline, a kick, and another clothesline, which eventually knocks Gonzalez off her feet. Moon then hits a beautiful code red for another near fall. Ember's looking for a submission on Gonzalez, but Gonzalez gets to the ropes thanks to Dakota Kai pushing the rope towards her. And Gonzalez rolls to the outside, but she's met by a tope suicida from Ember Moon, which sends Gonzalez over the commentary desk. Ember rolls Gonzalez into the ring and gets another near fall, and then Ember heads to the top rope, but Dakota Kai gets involved yet again. She's on the apron for the distraction as Gonzalez jumps to the top rope and hits a superplex on Moon for another 2 count. Raquel Gonzalez goes for the one-on powerbomb once more, but it's reversed into a pin attempt for a 2 count for Moon. And then Raquel hits Ember with a big boot for another near fall. Gonzalez looks for a delayed suplex, but it's countered into a modified eclipse by Ember Moon, and Ember heads to the top, hits a code breaker from the top on Gonzalez. She heads back to the top rope and hits the eclipse this time. She's about to win, but Dakota Kai puts Gonzalez's foot on the bottom rope. This leads to Shotzi Blackheart coming out. She's seen enough. She chases Kai around the ring. She sort of splashes her into the barricade, and then they fight a little bit up into the ramp. Dakota Kai gets thrown into the lovely little garden that they've got on the set, and then they fight to the backstage area. Back in the ring though, Moon hits Gonzalez face first off the ring post, And Ember's on the top rope and hits a filthy looking DDT onto Gonzalez on the ramp. It was beautiful. Moon takes a while to roll Gonzalez into the ring though and gets a 2 count. Ember's heading up top again looking for the Eclipse, but she gets caught. Gonzalez pushes Moon against the ropes, picks her up and hits Snake Eyes before hitting the one-on powerbomb to get the win. Raquel Gonzalez retains the NXT Women's Championship, and the quality matches just keep on coming, as do the correct predictions. 4 out of 4 now. That was 5. 4 out of 4 now. A very entertaining match, particularly like the dastardly heel work from Dakota Kai on the outside of the ring. This one gets 4.5 stars as well. We're on course for a pretty good show at this point. 4.5 stars, my rating for every single match so far. Todd Pettingill's back again, complaining about someone stealing his Walkman and playing Karate Fighters with Dexter Lumis. Todd makes a very much a rookie error of asking Dexter how the women are treating him these days. That's not going to make Dexter happy at the moment, and he grabs Todd's Karate Fighter figure as we head to a promo package for the Great American Bash, which is taking place in a few weeks on NXT TV on the 6th of July. And it's main event time now. Karrion Kross against Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano for the NXT title. And I just need a Karrion Kross victory for Full House at In Your House. And Gargano looks like he's dressed as a Karate Kid tonight. He's got some sort of sweatband on. I don't know if that was the look that he was going for, but that's what I read into it. So we start things off with Kyle O'Reilly hitting Adam Cole with a kick to the face, leading both of them to go outside early on. Gargano and Dunne then start exchanging hands, leading to Dunne throwing Gargano out of the ring, and then it's just Dunne and Kross in the ring alone. Dunne hits Kross with a few kicks to the leg, but gets caught the 3rd time and is hit with a suplex by the champion. O'Reilly enters the ring and he fancies the challenge of Kross now. Both men looking for kicks and exchanging kicks to the face before O'Reilly gets a heel hook in on Kross before Kross lifts him up for a suplex. Gargano then fancies his chances. He springboards into the ring, hitting Kross with a kick, which doesn't really have any effect. Gargano looks for the Gargano escape, but he's blocked. He hits a chop block, but is grabbed by the throat by Kross. Gargano fights out of this with some left arms to the face of Kross, then hits a Hurricane Rana to get Kross into the corner. Gargano is looking for a corner splash, but is hit with a suplex by Kross instead. In comes Cole now, who fancies his chances against Kross. He drop kicks Karrion's legs from under him and hits him with several right forearms. The champion grabs a waistlock on Cole, but Cole escapes and hits the enziguri. Cole hits the ropes, but he's dragged out of the ring by Pete Dunne. Cole is then beaten down on by Dunne, O'Reilly and Gargano, getting some sort of comeback for all the beatdowns that he's given them in the past few weeks on NXT TV. And then Kross lifts Cole back into the ring and delivers a clothesline in the corner. Dunne, Gargano and O'Reilly all try to take advantage of Kross being tied up working on Cole, but Kross just boots them all away very easily. Kross hits Dunne with a suplex, holds on, and he's looking for another one, but Gargano tries to get in position to help Dunne suplex Kross. However, this doesn't work, and both Gargano and Dunne are suplexed by Kross. Kross hits a devastating lariat to O'Reilly for a 2 count, and then O'Reilly hits Kross with a few kicks to the thigh, but he's thrown to the mat. The champion lifts O'Reilly up, but he manages to escape and hit Kross with a few kicks before sweeping the leg. O'Reilly is in charge as Dunne, Gargano and Cole all enter the ring, only to be met by kicks from O'Reilly. Kyle starts beating on Cole and tries to get an armbar on Cole, but Dunne comes in and gets an armbar on O'Reilly instead. Dunne is about to bend O'Reilly's fingers, but Gargano comes in and somehow gets trapped in a submission from Dunne too, so both O'Reilly and Gargano get their fingers bent by Pete Dunne. Karrion Kross is back to his feet now though, and picks up Dunne and powerbombs him onto the prone bodies of Gargano and O'Reilly. Kross points at Cole outside the ring on the ramp. Kross goes for the powerbomb on Cole, but Cole manages to escape. Gargano and Dunne then double team Kross, eventually pushing him through the front door of the set. Cole and O'Reilly are in the ring. Everyone else is down at the top of the ramp. Cole hits O'Reilly with a running kick to the face, then hits a backbreaker for a near fall. Cole heads up top, but he's stopped momentarily by Gargano. Cole jumps off the top rope looking for Panama Sunrise, but misses O'Reilly, who runs towards the corner and is met by Gargano's boot to his face. Gargano sidesteps Cole and kicks Cole into O'Reilly in the corner. Gargano then cleverly places Cole in the Tree of Woe in front of a sitting down Kyle O'Reilly in the corner and hits them both with a few kicks at the same time. He's then looking for a drop kick, only to be intercepted by Pete Dunne, who gets a roll up for a 2 count. Dunne is looking for the bitter end, but it's countered into a beautiful DDT by Gargano. Dunne is then lawn darted into Cole and O'Reilly in the corner by Gargano. Johnny Wrestling pins Dunne for a 2 count, and then lays in a few left hands to Dunne, boots to Cole, and he's looking for a thrust kick to Dunne, but he's intercepted by Kyle O'Reilly, who lifts him onto his shoulders. Cole then pump kicks Gargano off O'Reilly's shoulders. O'Reilly hits Gargano with a clothesline. Pump kick from Cole to O'Reilly, then a step up enziguri from Dunne to Cole, followed by a double clothesline from Dunne and O'Reilly to each other. All 4 men down. Kross is still out at the front door of the set. Cole lands on Gargano as he falls down for a 2 count. O'Reilly and Cole exchange right arms. Cole fakes a kick, then hits O'Reilly with a kick to the legs. Cole's looking for another kick, but O'Reilly grabs his leg and puts him in an ankle lock. Cole escapes this, kicking O'Reilly towards the ropes into the waiting arms of Kross outside the ring. Kross picks O'Reilly up and drops him ribs first on the barricade, then throws him into the crowd. Karrion suplexes Cole on the outside and throws him into the crowd area. Gargano now looking for a tope suicida, but he's caught and powerbombed onto the apron. It looked like he landed on his neck as well. It wasn't a nice landing from that powerbomb. Dunne tries to dive on Kross, but he's thrown onto Cole and O'Reilly behind the barricade, and Kross rolls Gargano into the ring, hits a beautiful tornado F5 for a near fall. Cole's back in the ring now, but he's met by a kick from Kross. Gargano's also back to his feet. He hits Kross with some kicks to the midsection, then DDTs him via a boot to Cole's face, sort of using Cole's face as leverage to hit the DDT. Gargano tope suicidas out of the ring to O'Reilly before diving over the steel steps to Kross, and he's not done there as he runs through the ring straight to the outside to hit a diving DDT on Pete Dunne. An awesome group of maneuvers from Johnny Wrestling there. Gargano runs back to the ring after a little wait, but he's met by 2 super kicks from Adam Cole. Cole goes for the running kick to Gargano's back, but he gets out of the way of it. Gargano then looks for the Gargano escape, but Cole rolls towards the ropes, breaking the hold. He looks for his own submission, but Gargano escapes, kicking Cole into the corner. Johnny Wrestling's thrown onto the apron by Cole. Gargano dives towards Cole, but is met by another thrust kick. Cole heads to the second rope, looking for Panama Sunrise, but Gargano counters it into a sit-down pile driver for another near fall. And both men are down in the ring as Dunne and O'Reilly crawl in to join them. Gargano is first to his feet, clotheslining Dunne in the corner. He goes for the same on O'Reilly in the opposite corner, but O'Reilly moves out of the way, hitting Dunne with a forearm. He tries to hit Gargano with a forearm too, but Gargano counters, rolls O'Reilly, and then Gargano kicks O'Reilly in the front as Dunne kicks him in the back at the same time. Dunne then thrust kicks Gargano, lifts him up. Gargano escapes, then Gargano hits Dunne with a Hurricane Rana as Cole kicks him in the chest. O'Reilly holds Cole as Gargano kicks him, but Gargano breaks up the pinfall with a double stomp to O'Reilly. Everyone except Kross are pulling themselves up in the corner of the ring as Kross gets to his feet and enters the ring. Kross hits everyone except O'Reilly with a clothesline in the corner. O'Reilly ducks his clothesline and hits Kross with a clothesline of his own, but it has no effect and seems to take more out of O'Reilly than anything else. Dunne, Cole and Gargano then hit Kross with a lariat of their own, and that finally knocks him to the mat. Cole hits Dunne and Gargano with forearms, runs to the ropes, and is met by a double clothesline. O'Reilly hits Gargano with a knee, but then receives a forearm from Dunne, hits the middle rope the Moxley way before being hit by a Gargano enziguri. O'Reilly again hits the bottom rope the Moxley way this time, and hits Gargano and Dunne with a clothesline. Crosses back to his feet, he runs through O'Reilly's kick attempt and turns O'Reilly inside out with a clothesline. All 5 men are down, but Kross is first to his feet. He hits O'Reilly, Cole and Gargano with a suplex. He looks to suplex Dunne, but Dunne lands on his feet, kicks Kross on the back before O'Reilly kicks Kross in the chest. Gargano and Cole kick Kross in the apron before the surprise team of Cole and O'Reilly powerbomb Kross onto the commentary table. All 4 other men are in the ring now. Dunne squares off with Cole and Gargano squares off with O'Reilly, exchanging forearms. They all create separation from each other, allowing Cole and Gargano to super kick each other. This allows Dunne to get a submission on Cole and O'Reilly to get one on Gargano. O'Reilly and Dunne decide to just drop the other 2 and start exchanging blows with each other. Dunne eventually drops to a knee. O'Reilly lifts him up, but Dunne reverses it into a standing Kimura. O'Reilly almost manages to reverse this. Dunne gets O'Reilly in a triangle hold before O'Reilly lifts Dunne in the air, and Gargano hits a spear through the middle rope from the elevated ramp on the outside. Cole throws Gargano out of the ring and hits O'Reilly with a devastating neckbreaker thing for a 2 count. I wasn't sure if this was a neckbreaker or a backbreaker. He sort of lifted him up, dropped him on what seemed to be like the neck on his knee. There's probably a technical term for it, but I'm not aware of it. Cole and Dunne are alone in the ring now, exchanging shots. Dunne goes for the kick, but he's caught. He then goes for a kick with his other foot, but Cole avoids it and it hits Gargano. Dunne goes to the top rope looking for a moonsault, but is met by a double super kick from Cole and Gargano. Cole throws Gargano out and goes for the cover on Dunne for another near fall. Gargano hits one final beat on Cole for 2. Gargano gets Cole and Dunne in the Gargano escape at the same time, but O'Reilly's made his way back to the ring and he hits Gargano with a running knee. All four men are down again. O'Reilly hits Gargano with knees and kicks, then a brainbuster. He goes to the top rope, but is pushed to the floor by Adam Cole. Cole hits the Panama Sunrise on Gargano, but he's pulled out of the ring by Dunne at the last minute, who then hits a brainbuster on the outside. Kross appears behind the commentary desk, and Dunne gets back into the ring and invites Kross in. Dunne and Kross face off in the middle of the ring. Kross suplexes Dunne, then Dunne suplexes Kross. Bitter end to Kross for a near fall, then triangle choke from Dunne to Kross, but all the other participants break it up. Dunne is in control and stomps the hands of Gargano and O'Reilly. Cole goes for a low blow on Dunne, but he's caught and gets his fingers bent. Kross then comes in and hits a double Saito suplex to Cole and Dunne. Kross locks in the cross jacket to Dunne, who grabs Kross's fingers and snaps them. Gargano hits one final beat on Dunne, but Kross tries for a cross jacket on Gargano. He can't get a grip of it because of the snap to his fingers that he's just had from Dunne. And Gargano pushed himself backwards, pinning Kross to the mat for a near fall. Kross holds on to the cross jacket on Gargano, but Cole hits the last shot to break things up. O'Reilly knocks Cole down, goes up top, and hits the knee to the back of Kross, but the pinfall is broken up by a thrust kick from Cole at 2.5. Cole then kicks Gargano and Cole off the apron, then looks for the last shot on O'Reilly, but he gets caught in a heel hook. Cole looks like he's going to tap, but Kross rolls over. He's been lying on the mat the entire time that the hold's been in on Adam Cole. He rolls over, he gets O'Reilly in the cross jacket. O'Reilly leaves go of Cole eventually as he's passed out, and the referee calls for the bell. Karrion Kross has retained the NXT title. What a main event. I wasn't sure how the main event could be better than the rest of the show, but the rest of the show getting 4.5-star ratings from me, but it was. I mentioned that it would take something spectacular to get a 5-star rating, but this was it. This match is getting a 5-star rating from me. A great match. Everyone got equal offense, plenty of false finishes that had me convinced, and I'm not too concerned with the way that O'Reilly lost in such a valiant way, refusing to give up, just losing because he passed out. After the match, we get a backstage segment where William Regal suggests it's time for a change of NXT general manager. I personally don't think I'm ready to say goodbye to Regal, but I would understand if they decide to go with someone else. I guess in kayfabe terms, he's not really been running a tight ship. Lots of fights, even just tonight, lots of backstage fights. But we will see what happens. You may not agree, but I think this was the best event of the year so far. Every single match delivered. All the results made sense, and I got a full house of correct predictions. The main event lifts this to a 5-star rating, as well as the intrigue from the final shot of the event with William Regal walking away. So overall, I give NXT Takeover in Your House 2021 5 stars. So that is it for this review of NXT Takeover in Your House. We will be back, or I will be back, with predictions for WWE's Hell in a Cell event later this week, as well as a look ahead to other shows that are streaming this coming weekend too. Remember to let me know your thoughts on the show, on the individual matches. Let me know what other wrestling you watched this weekend that I should maybe take a look at. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you later in the week.